Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Four Dead Losers podcast. We are the Four Dead Losers. I'm Ramito.
Adam. Justin.
And Amanda.
And today we're going to be talking about In a Violent Nature. Justin, you picked this movie. Not spoiler thoughts. What did you think?
It was a movie. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. Like, they had a vision. We've talked about it before. They had a vision, and it was very unorthodox compared to normal slashers. And I like that they did something like that. I think it was very interesting. I don't know how well it was. I mean, they did what they wanted to do, right? It was fine.
Mm-hmm.
It was good, but like I just don't know if like that's something that I would see recurring. Overall, I liked it. I liked what they were trying to do, and I liked that it was a change from the normal formula of what slashers are, so I can appreciate it.
Yeah. So for those of y'all who don't know, forgot to mention this at the beginning, my bad, but In a Violent Nature, the basic synopsis of the movie is that I guess the closest comparison would be Friday the 13th. You have a bunch of teenagers in a cabin in the woods, but instead of following the different teens and the final girl in the end, we actually follow Jason Voorhees, but in this movie, his name is Jimmy? Johnny? His name is Johnny. And so we follow the serial killer or entity or whatever it is.
The stalker-like creature.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was a very good movie. I thought that, like Justin was saying, it had an idea, and they did set idea, but the creativity and only thing that really was redeeming was kind of some of the cinematography, but outside of that, it just wasn't.
There were a lot of really good shots.
Yeah, but outside of that, it wasn't very well done. I think this is going to be one of those movies that I think could reoccur, but it's going to be a footnote that hardly anybody's going to remember other than, oh, this was the movie that started it, but it's not very good. I guarantee you there's going to be movies that are going to expand upon it and make it better, because I think there's a lot of things they could have done differently, but I would just say, to keep it short, that it just, because of the things they took out because of their vision, it really made the movie suffer, and then the few things that they thought would go well for them, I don't think were very good.
They took out stuff?
Well, I mean, I'll talk about it once we get into it, but yeah, I just think you lose a lot of aspects of what you would normally get from a story in a movie because you're following just the killer, so you have to keep it. I don't think they really thought through, like, if we're going to do this, how do we make up for it? I think they just decided to stick with the vision of just following the killer. And it didn't
that's kind of fair, right? Because like in literature, we usually follow the protagonist, and the killer would be our antagonist. But in this movie, it's reversed.
Following the antagonist.
Yeah.
But and you just lose a lot of elements of a movie or a story in general. So, but we can talk about that more once we get into it. But yeah, I did not like it.
Rating 1 out of 10. Forgot to ask you. Sorry.
I would say 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10.
That's pretty bad.
Ooh. Rating 1 out of 10. Sorry, Justin.
Upon exiting the theater, I was gonna give it a low rating to like 4 or 5, but then again, like I said, I thought about it, and I thought I really did appreciate what they're trying to do, so I kind of bumped it up to like a 6 or a 7. And it's one of those things. Maybe like, I don't know if they do end up expanding upon it, and it does create like a new type of like I don't know if genre is the right word, but like a type of idea to expand upon, then this would be kind of like the movie that started it. And it's like the Blair Witch of found footage films, so yeah. I appreciate it.
Amanda, not spoiler thoughts?
So I thought, again, for what it was, what they wanted to do, that it was pretty good. I mean, it is what it is. I was between like a 3 and 4 out of 5, so on a 10 scale, I'd probably give it a 7. I think that's okay. I don't think I would go higher than that. So, since we know already that we follow a slasher in this movie, like that's what it is, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that the only reason I wouldn't rate it higher is because, like what Adam was saying about losing elements in a movie, I just want to reiterate that I just lost a lot of like the tension that I would have felt in a slasher movie, because since we're following him, we see it all coming, right? Like, you know what's about to happen, so I feel like there was really no anticipation. It was just kind of seeing how he was going to do it. So, yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I don't really have anything bad to say about it, but I do think, like Adam was saying, we lose a lot.
Oh, I do. I got a lot of bad things. I got a whole list.
So, my thoughts, I like the movie. Personally, I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10 and wouldn't go any higher than that. I enjoyed it. I really liked what they did. I feel like this movie kind of had to happen, right? Like eventually, because a lot of the times, like especially growing up, like we always have this thought, like what is Freddy Krueger doing while we're awake?
Yeah,
What is
exactly.
like all these people doing, like when we're not seeing them, what's going on? And so this movie gives us that perspective.
Yeah.
And I like I said, I kind of feel like it just had to happen.
Somebody was gonna make it at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
You know, if you think about it, it took a really long time for that to actually happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it did.
Like what? I don't
like
know.
I think the first slasher's Psycho,
50s.
something like that. Or
So like
60s.
60 years. It took 60 years for someone to finally implement this idea.
I thought it was good. I mean, the story's pretty straightforward, right? Like a bunch of teens in the woods, slasher. We already know what's gonna happen. The acting was kind of mid, honestly.
Questionable,
Like,
yeah.
there were some people in there, like the final girl. I think she did okay, but everybody else was just kind of like whatever. And then
I like the lady at the end too. She was alright.
Yeah.
She didn't have a big role, but
Yeah.
We'll get into her later on when we get to the end of the episode. I thought for the most part, like there were 2 kills that like were just absolutely crazy. I think we'll get into that later.
I guess just like a preface. He was the first one to see the movie, and he kind of let us know, hey, there's gonna be like these 2 kills that happen in the movie, and like, I think the first thing I asked, right, was it on par with Terrifier, because that's notorious. It's notorious for having one of the most goriest like kills, right?
Yeah, Terrifier 2.
Yeah. So he said it was kind of up there, right?
I said it was more of
You said it was a
Saw-
little bit. Yeah,
Saw,
I guess.
like live or die, but without the live part.
I didn't think it was even remotely in the same space. They were really bad. Like I think we'll get into it, but I think and I don't want to compare everything gory to Terrifier, even though it's like one of my favorite franchises. But I think where their budget went was cinematography. I think they're very well shot.
What was the budget? Do we know?
I don't know, $10.
$10. But I think the what took me out of it was that the practical effects were not very well done, and I think that was something that I think sets movies like Terrifier apart, because while they do have, not always the other things, practical effects are really good.
I think that was like their thing, right? I think with
Damien,
that's like one of their like emphasis, right? They love just practical effects and just going in on it.
Yeah, Damien is also like a practical effects specialist.
I'm
And
that's
sorry,
why-
what practical effects?
that's like instead of using CGI blood, they use like the fake blood.
Yeah.
Like and like a lot of this was practical. Like
So
everything
they're
that
not going
happened.
back to add it in. It's like having it when they're filming.
So like CGI is obviously like
Like all
computerized
props,
stuff. Yeah.
props
Like Godzilla
and-
and Godzilla,
like
so the green screen
Yeah.
CGI.
Doll faces.
But practical is everything that's like it's like real.
But yeah,
like the old times, you put a body there and actually like
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fake.
practical effects weren't good, and I won't get into each one until we hit them. But
Yeah.
I thought there was a couple of times too where just so bad it took me out of it. I'm like, this because especially with how spread out the kills are, it's like if that's not even good to me. Like that's not even worth
It
it.
felt like you were like playing a video game, right? Like half the time you're just walking.
Walking
What I was gonna say though, really quickly for the viewers, on Google it says that like this movie surpasses the rated R criteria.
It's so
Which-
bad.
I'm sorry, wait, were you saying something?
No, I want to finish.
So
Oh, so like I just want to let them know that, because how Terrifier is also unrated for I
Is
think
it?
similar
Yeah.
reasons.
I can see that.
I don't believe
makes
that this
sense.
movie should have. I think this movie could have been
I
rated
think it
R.
could have been
I don't
rated
know.
R,
I don't think it
Are you
needed
sure
to
it
like.
wasn't rated R? I felt like it was.
No, it
wasn't
wasn't.
rated.
It
Yeah.
wasn't, and I think so because of the second kill that I'm talking about, which we'll get into later.
Yeah.
It's bad. I've seen worse on rated R movies. I've seen worse on PG-13.
Leprechaun.
Yeah, Leprechaun.
Rated
At
R.
least Leprechaun like pogo stick somebody to death, and those practical effects are better than
That's funny. Okay, so this is your spoiler warning. We're going to get into the spoiler section of the episode in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so the movie basically starts off with we hear people talking, and it's just a shot, I think, of like a locket on like some kind of metal pipe. Yeah.
You know, I didn't even catch that at first. I was just looking at the window.
What the?
It was in the shack window. That's
So it was just like, dang, no
I know, I'm just
foreground,
watching.
just the background.
just like, what's happening?
Why is
Well, I
the
thought it
background
was.
on
I thought
the
it was on the window first, and it like slowly,
Yeah, it backs
backs
You're right.
away, and it also has again just the only saving grace is some cinematography, but it like has it where it's blurred and then it slowly starts coming into focus and eventually that hits the locket.
That gives it a lot of points for me, honestly.
Yeah, that's really good. It's really well shot. So it's basically to be like, no, it's not two. It's like three people, and they're all kind of talking about like all these other things. And one of the guys, like it's kind of like a passing statement. He brings up a massacre that had happened. Which is important later on. But then we see that they take a locket, this little golden necklace, off of the pipe, and then they just, kind of disappear. And then we see the pipe basically like moving.
You can hear the
breathing.
Yeah. You could hear the breathing and the pipe moving, and then basically our killer comes out of the ground. Is what it is.
Unshackles himself. He was like, you couldn't tell he was in it, but it seemed like there was change or something on him.
Yeah, no, he was shackled.
Yeah,
he was. So he was obviously breaking free and all that.
Then we start our walking simulator movie. He starts walking into the woods, all these other things. He finds a dead animal, like kind of in what looks kind of like a walkway, right? It's like
just walking to the forest.
Yeah.
It's in a bear trap, but it looks like it's been there for
a while.
But even it being there for a while, it's weird that it's almost skinned.
Yeah.
Like it was all the skin was gone.
But not too far away from the animal in the trap, there's a camera that's basically
a deer
cam or something like that that's focused on the trap. After that, we hear a bunch of car honking and stuff like that, and so our main dude is kind of like, what's going on over there? And he starts walking that way. The person who's honking the vehicle, we find out is a park ranger or a game warden.
Yeah.
One of those two, and he's basically talking to this guy who lives out in the middle of freaking nowhere.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like the only house.
The only house there, yeah. And he's saying like, you can't put your traps up there anymore. That's against the law, XYZ. And then
he's saying it's dangerous because they're just like anybody can step on them because you can't see them.
Yeah, which is foreshadowing.
Yeah.
And the dude who lives there is like, no, you can't tell me what to do. I know my rights, XYZ. This is America. Mm-hmm. And so they just kind of go back and forth for a little while. And basically what the camera looks like here is we see these people like in the background. They're like a good 100 feet away or something like that. And we are focused on our killer, like the back of his head. And he starts making his way up the hill to the house where the two guys are talking. Eventually the conversation kind of, meets its natural end, and the game warden or park ranger or whoever he is gets into the car and he's basically like, pick up those traps or I'll come back. And he drives off, and then the person who lives there goes inside of his house, right? He's kind of like, no one's going to tell me what to do on my land. Goes into his house, and then our killer starts to walk into the house too, and then we see the guy who lives there walk out the front door. So the killer enters the back door, and the homie leaps through the front door, and now he has like a shotgun or something.
I like how this was shot, because it felt very much like you're on like a ring, right? It's doing this. Because as our killer's going in, the guy's walking out and around.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I thought it was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And so the slasher is like, kind of poking around the house. I don't think homeboy knows how to do dishes, right? Because there's everywhere.
It's like it's stocked like
he's a bachelor guy.
Yeah, like old divorced man.
Yeah.
100 man.
And so eventually our killer finds like a golden necklace, right? Or something like that in the house. And I guess we see a little bit of a glimpse of what's going on in his mind. Mm-hmm. And there's like a picture frame that's that's right in front of the locket. And we see like a little glimpse of a memory. Yeah. And it's a
mom, a dad, and a son.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we see what's presumably our killer's dad, right? We never figure out who he is, but we can infer that's who it is.
I thought it wasn't really the important part. I thought the most important part was just setting up that, hey, here's this locket, and he's looking.
That's what he's saying.
But he's looking. I don't think it was the picture itself that was more.
No, I think he's talking about the dad was in like the little flashback.
The flashback,
because you could see like the flannel, like the arm.
Yeah,
was the dad in the flashback?
Yeah, because it's telling the kid like, hey,
this was your
mom's, and she always wore this because she thinks of you or whatever.
It was that guy.
No, it wasn't that.
Oh, okay.
It was his
I
brain.
think
His
the
brain.
image
okay.
was making
Gotcha.
him remember that
Gotcha.
memory.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so basically, just like what Adam said, in the memory that we're seeing, the dad says like, "Hey, this was your mom's. She wore it every day to remind her of you. This is yours now." And the little kid's like, "Okay, yippee." We exit the flashback, and did you see what it said on the?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't say it yet. So he's reaching for the locket. He's going to grab it.
Oh, you're right.
And he kicks over a glass bottle, which
Yeah.
triggers
The
country
other guy.
jamboree man to come back in.
Country jamboree.
And then he I think he fires like a warning shot, but has not crossed the corner yet. He doesn't
Yeah.
even know
Yeah,
who's
he's like, I
there.
told you not to come back.
Yeah, I told you not to come back.
I thought it was
And-
the game warden.
yeah, and then as he's reloading, he sees him.
It shows the lock-in. It says number 1.
Yeah, but he doesn't see that until he gets back.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
You're
so-
right.
Spoiler
You're right.
alert.
So you spoiled the movie.
Well, I mean, I think it's fine,
Episode
right?
over.
It just it fast
Well, yeah. So,
forwards to the guy.
but basically, the guy
He turns the corner, right?
He turns
Yeah.
the corner.
And
He's like,
"Whoa!"
"What?"
He's like, "What the hell are you?"
It's like the what is the popular TikTok or Vine video where it's like the chill, Dad.
Yeah.
What even are you?
Yeah.
It's like that. And so I think this
That's
is one
all
of
messed
the
up,
one of the
right?
first
Showing it
times
ugly.
one of the first times in the movie where it pans away from him and from the outside perspective of the house because you just hear gunshots.
Yeah.
And the guy runs out, doesn't have his gun, he's just
Yeah.
running. And this is my only part of the movie I laughed at. This man was running like half a lap second. He was like, and like not making any progress. Like he was the slowest runner I think I've ever seen.
It reminded me of that Vine, why are you running?
Yeah,
And the baby's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
running,
yeah.
"Ah, why are you running?
But she made distance. This guy was not making any distance. So he has the gun. I think he ends up chunking it, and then he goes after
Oh, I
him.
think they wrestle for it.
No, the rest of them, yeah, but he already exits the house.
Yeah.
But again, they don't show that. They just you hear it, and then he makes his way out the back door.
Right, I think he leaves without it. because-
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He leaves it
Yeah.
out. That's what I'm saying.
Sorry.
But the killer has it in his
Yeah.
hand.
Yes,
And then he lets it go or whatever because he didn't
Yeah.
need it. And so I think he chases him. He literally walks, and eventually it follows him for a while, and then
He's in one of his own
one of
traps.
his own traps.
I was like,
Which this was.
Which
ironic,
I
I guess.
expected.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
expected
expected it, but here was the thing I didn't like. So obviously you can tell this guy's also probably, has a drinking problem, but I'm 99% sure that on all of those traps, they're made for animals to the point where you should be able to undo the trap by yourself. You don't need to sit like the dude sat there.
He's also
For-
in that place, and he should know how to.
Well, no, but even you know how to. Like that's
Yeah.
the thing.
I
Like
think
the
about
traps
that.
are there, so you can eventually open them back
Yeah.
up. So this man sat there with this trap on, and at no point did he take it off. Like I'm like, and he
Or
didn't
even
even
attempt.
he didn't even
Yeah.
attempt. He just sat there forever, and I'm just like, that was one of my starting gripes. And as the movie goes on, there's more gripes with
That's fair.
similar things. I'm just like,
Yeah.
really? Like that was just a poor. I get what they were doing, but they should have had it happen in view immediately as he
Yeah.
was walking versus him being there because he wasn't even trying when the guy pulled
Yeah.
up. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So,
So I know this leads into our first kill, but like the significance of the house scene was that was not his locket,
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
which
So
I think
this-
is important to
This,
remember.
yeah, so yeah, exactly. The significance of the house scene, exactly what you're saying, is that like this is kind of where we learn that like this locket has some importance to him, right?
I also think we made an inference. Me and Ida like we were talking about it in the car afterwards because we watched it literally last night, and because she asked like, is the locket calling to him? Like, is it like a signal thing that he can pick up? And I was thinking yes, because he eventually finds the people in the cabin. But I also think it's because he also gets distracted by anything like any stimuli that triggers.
Yeah.
He always diverts. So again, like you had said before, the car horn that immediately stopped him to turn and go that way. So I think he knew exactly where to go and where he wanted to go, but then when something distracts him, he has to go to it. So I think that's setting the rules of like Camp Killer 101. Like if you're alone, if you are, somewhere where that thing wants to be, it's going to go to that area, but stimuli will distract them. Like anything that's out of the norm will trigger them to go that way. Just
Yeah,
'cause
it's kind of like the whole like I don't know if it's a trope exactly, but the like make noise to distract them
Yeah.
kind of thing is what it's setting up.
yeah.
And so the farmer guy is in the bear trap or whatever, and then we see like this guy's nub hands, our killer's nub hands, go in, and then we don't see the actual kill. But yeah, I kind of was too, because he goes back inside the house, right? Our slasher goes in the house, sees a locket. Okay, cool. That's not it. It says number 1. And then leaves, and as he's walking, he walks by the body.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. But it was blurred.
Yeah.
The body was blurred, and his entire face was caved
And his
in.
arms on top of the car.
Yeah, and so I was like, I wanted to see that.
Yeah.
But, oh well,
I mean,
it's okay.
I think if it wasn't blurred, it would have looked too fake. That's probably why they did
Well,
that.
you know what?
So that was smart. I think it was smart on there. They used what they had, you know?
That makes sense, but thinking about it now, I know we're getting a little bit ahead. But, like, I would have rather seen that one than seen the lake.
Yeah. Well, and then I think it might have been an artistic idea too of like, because it was the same with eventually the reveal of his face, right? Like they take a while to do it, because I will make a note. It was also important that anytime they do kind of show him from a front view, it's always blurred. You can't see him.
Yeah, it's
clearly.
either blurred or it's like cut off. His
Yeah,
face or
and
something.
so I think that might have also been an artistic choice to delay.
No,
I'm fine with, but again, I just thought like, you know, again, for what they did show, they were very lackluster. So the fact that they didn't show it is another reason why that was not a very good choice. Because again, they're just like, you set up like, oh, well, what you're gonna see is great, and then it was like, no, it wasn't.
So homeboy's walking through the woods again. A lot of really great shots, and then he hears like a car or two or something like that.
Jeep. And it's the protagonist, right?
Yeah, and they're like,
screaming.
yeah, they're screaming, hollering, all these good things, spring break, like honking their horn as they're going down the road, and so he's like, all right, I guess we're going that way now.
Yeah.
And they do like we're in the middle of the woods, pat 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 pat, kind of stuff. Yeah, and he's like, cool.
He walked a while, right? He walked for a long time.
Yeah, he walked for a while. It
It's
shifts to
nighttime.
nighttime when he hears the gunshots, because he's walking in the general direction, and that's what stimuli triggers him again.
Kind of going off of what he said. So I don't know where I saw it. I guess it was kind of a joke, but kind of like an accurate description of the movie. I remember seeing it like maybe the night before. Someone had used the term for the movie ambient slasher, and I was like, when I heard that, I was like, okay. I feel like I know what to expect. I feel like if I did not hear that, I would have been really disappointed with the movie. So hearing that like before, I think kind of set me up to be like, okay, going like with that mindset, like, okay, this is gonna be like a slower movie.
Yeah,
and
I'm okay with slow, but nothing occurred. Like it did, but it didn't. It was just kind of
it did.
it did not.
Stuff occurred.
So they're all these teenagers are all like, you know, hyped up on alcohol, that good stuff. They're sitting out around a campfire, and one of them starts talking about the massacre that happened. Do you remember
Well, before that,
I think that's stuck.
what?
Because they're around a campfire doing scary stuff.
There was that key moment before. So this is like the one time you get any semblance of like some type of character, not even development, I would say, but like character, like maybe you can kind of latch onto, which was the girl and the guy talking about whatever, the nighttime, and them there, and then the girl brought up something, and another guy brought up like, oh yeah, it's a great idea, or whatever, and so the boyfriend of the girl like was kind of a jerk and was like, oh yeah, like, he's like, oh yeah, you would agree with that, huh? Because he's your girl. And so obviously there's this idea that I think either he really likes her or maybe they dated at one point, but he got her right, like the stock, you know, the bad guy is the one with the girl, and eventually she'll fall in love with the other guy, right? And so he was kind of like a real like jerk to him. And but it's gonna play an important role later on.
The jerk was the boyfriend.
That's what I'm saying. The jerk was the boyfriend. So
what I was basically teasing him.
He's teasing him. But this is gonna play a role later on when he eventually comes back, because I think that was another trigger for Johnny or whatever. But anyways, that happened before what you're about to say, the ghost story. Because I think that was important to note.
So this is where we get like this movie's version of the lore dump, right? Every single movie that we've covered has had one so far, except for I guess The Strangers, but that's besides the point.
At least this one wasn't right in the beginning, so you didn't miss it. You were late, right?
You're talking about the Poovers.
Oh.
Yeah.
When we literally showed up late and then it's already we missed the whole synopsis of the movie.
So this is where we get our lore dump. Basically, Johnny, who's an intellectually disabled little boy, he is at like a lumber mill with his dad. His dad runs a store to supply all of the people that work there with like, it's a general goods store is basically what he has. And he's apparently his dad is notorious for like price gouging, right? Like he's the only one in that location.
So they have to buy from him. Yeah.
Exactly. And so they're like, hey, like that's not cool or whatever. So, Johnny is kind of like, kids be kids. They have their toys all over the place. And one of the workers for the lumber mill trips on his car, right?
Puts him out of work.
Yeah, puts him out of work for a little bit. And so all the workers are like, hey, that's not cool. We're going to get revenge on this kid for whatever freaking reason.
I know, right? Like it's the kid's fault.
Yeah. And so they basically trick Johnny into going up a fire tower.
He likes firefighters.
Yeah,
he likes firefighters in particular, and then so they said
because something about like there's like a fire mask up there or something, so he can.
No, they said there was like a toy up there.
Yeah, they said that there's toys.
Yeah,
okay, you're right. That there's toys up there, so Johnny goes up and then he falls and basically
the guy scares him in a fire mask.
Yes.
Yeah,
the guy scares him, falls off,
plots
dies,
his death. Yeah,
and then to make it seem like he fell himself, they put the mask on him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So they tell him, "Oh, we was playing up there and he fell."
And he fell and he died. And the dad was like, I think they were like at a some kind of bar or restaurant, right? He starts a fight with them, and they like kill the dad in the fight, and then we don't hear anything from anybody in the lumber mill. The company who owns the lumber mill shows up, and everybody's dead.
Yeah,
and they just chalk it up to
poison gas.
They ate poison meat.
Poison meat.
Well, because they say that everybody died, and there was like a whole massacre, and so they just ate a bunch of poison meat. And
paid off the widows.
Yeah, it was just like
and they never
crazy.
opened it up again.
Yeah, so that's basically like the backstory for our killer, right? Like that's how he.
And he's standing in the background.
He's standing in the
whole
background.
time.
And cinematography again, you can kind of see an outline of it, but not really.
That.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then teenagers being teenagers, they all group in for a selfie. Yay! And he's in the background for that, and we know that he is because they mention it later on in the movie. Then everybody, kind of just goes on their merry way, hangs out.
This is where he's putting the locket in his pocket.
The jerko boyfriend puts the locket in his pocket. Johnny's like, all right, you're next. And then he you see a bunch of garden tools and stuff like that.
That was cool. I was like, which one is he gonna get?
I thought he was gonna get the normal.
Well, that's the thing, right? I think they set it up specifically like that just for you to be like, he's gonna get the axe also.
The axe or the pitchfork.
Yeah, and then he grabs the saw. The saw. I was like,
it's some kind of saw, right?
Yeah, like a.
It has it's basically a handle and then like a wood.
What do they call it? I don't know.
I mean, not wood.
It's
sorry.
a type of saw.
A blade.
A saw.
Handsaw?
Handsaws like that. A seesaw. Yeah.
Seesaw.
Yeah.
They start going like this.
I don't know. Anyway, it's one of those.
Yeah. And so homeboy starts walking around the cabin, right, looking for his first victim or whatever. And then there's some pointless conversation that happens. One of the guys is like, hey, I'm gonna go out for a walk.
The one who was already getting teased.
Yeah, the guy that told the story, and he's obviously the stock guy that everybody makes fun of. He's the one that they poke at, right?
Yeah, and he's like, I'm gonna go urinate over there in the forest, and the girl's like, you're gonna go meet up with those girls at the gas station.
Yeah,
and
we
he's
never
like,
saw.
And it honestly, this part was kind of too long. It was like 5 minutes, right, of back and forth. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Just
point is, it gets him away from everybody.
And
that's the point.
They also did set up too that the stock boyfriend girlfriend are arguing because he's upset and drunk that she said something that made fun of his shortcomings, and so he got upset about all that, and so he's all big mad.
So then his name is Aaron, the guy who goes off by himself. He's doing his own thing. He puts on, I think he has some kind of
he's a Walkman or something, right?
And he starts playing music, and it's like, okay, cool. He's standing with his back against the tree.
Against the tree.
Yeah, and then you just see the saw come in and cut his head in half.
That's
I was like, My mouth dropped
Bruh.
because I was like, bro, that was
I thought it would have been funny if Johnny took the cassette and like put it on. I thought he was
that would
gonna
have
put
been
it
funny
on.
too.
Oh, I'll tell you in a second once we get to like the next scene. It was something I thought was really cool how because one thing to note in this whole movie, there's no music.
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
no
yeah,
music.
Oh, if you're gonna say you
Yeah.
like the music, I hated that part. The music, I hated it.
I think that's
liked
the only
it.
part with the music.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. How
Oh, no, there was another part of music too, and I also hated it there. Now, I will say, if you're gonna praise it, I have negative viewpoints on that. What he's alluding to is, so he's listening to a certain track. It's stock, terrible music that's like hi-fi, lo-fi. I don't know any fi, but it's basically
Some pop
like
music or
yeah,
something.
it's just like oh, okay, cool. And then when he gets killed and he goes into the next scene, it warps it and slows it down.
I like that.
But
yeah, I like
I do
that.
remember that.
I thought it was okay.
I like
But
that.
for how long the next scene was, it was too long. I'm like, okay, I'm over it. I got what you did. Stop the song already. It's just so like it was just aggravating.
I don't even think I paid attention.
Yeah,
at all.
it was ambiance more than anything, and I appreciated it because I just like stuff like that.
That's what I was saying, but that's why it bothered me because I heard it. And I'm like, okay, that's
Yeah.
cool, and then I'm like, okay, stop it. Okay, Dom. Okay, all right, we get it. The song, okay, like the song is way too long now. Like you ruined.
I liked it.
No, but the
You're-
fact that he just like killed this guy and then
He left the
dragged
headphone.
him.
He left
But
the
just
headphone.
he
Yeah.
grabs. But what is he even holding
His
anywhere? His
jawbone.
tongue?
His
Like,
jawbone. No, but
something.
and that was the other. This is where practical effects.
Yeah,
was mad.
this is when I first noticed. I was like, oh, this
Okay.
What
So-
would they do his head?
No, when he's first dragging him,
Like
like
dragging him, you can. Like, I get it. He's freakishly strong,
yeah,
but you can tell the distribution of like how heavy it still should be is not there. Like he's literally, it's literally like
Like a doll.
it's like even like
it's like lightweight,
lightweight,
pretty much,
like
yeah.
it's feathers.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but you can even see it multiple times. The legs are like super thin. They didn't even put any thought into the legs. Like it was just like again,
That's-
whoever's in charge of
Right.
practical effects, I don't think did a very good job.
I wasn't even paying like this whole scene when he's dragging the body. I was just paying attention. I was trying to figure out where he was going, and then when I saw
Yeah.
that it was the station, I was like looking at the sign.
I
So
thought
like,
I kind of figured because he
I
did
liked
did a moment before he grabbed him. He grabbed his like chest and he looked at his shirt and his shirt
Yes,
said
yes.
like Mega Rangers or
Yeah.
like Ranger. It was like a buff Ranger guy. Kind of looked like Sergeant
Yeah.
Slaughter from WWF.
I like
so
the-
like my complaint with this scene, and I'm getting a little bit ahead, just like.
No, I mean,
Moving
I
on.
think we got there already.
Yeah,
he
but
dragged
like
the body to the
when
ranger
he throws
station.
the head through the
Yeah.
window, I'm like, I told Jordan, I was like, that doesn't even look real.
The
like
head,
his
right? The
head,
head-
it
the head,
was
it looked
made
pretty
so
fake,
poorly.
yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
any makeup artist could have made that look
Mhm.
a
You see,
even a
that's
little
so-
more
Because
real.
the
That's
eyes,
so
the eyes
interesting.
stayed
Yeah,
open
they look-
and it
they
was
look-
like dead.
It, like there was
yeah,
no blood on it either. It was
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
looked
like
fake.
puppet.
So
like,
I think what's interesting is I didn't care about how any of these like it didn't bother me at
that's
all.
why I want to know what the budget was. Because the budget wasn't very high, I'm gonna give it.
Hold
to
on, wait. Okay, this is the thing. I get exactly what you're saying, and I think that's fair because if you're gonna scrutinize the effects like that, you have to scrutinize what they did
But-
at Late Night with the Devil.
But
too,
no,
the CGI
but
effects.
but here's where I'm gonna say
It's
no.
the same
I'm
thing.
gonna say
They
no.
probably didn't have the budget for it.
No, but no,
Yes,
because
I
here's what I'm gonna
agree.
say. Because there's literally 3/4 of the movie where nothing else is happening except for walking. When the moments you're supposed to have something happen, it can't look chafa. That's why the scenes where there were other things, it was so long, and the whole music thing too. Why it triggered me is because okay, I'm gonna notice things now because there's nothing else to notice everywhere else. There's nothing else.
I guess it would be nice to figure out a comparative budget.
I
Obviously, it probably wasn't that big. It really wasn't.
I wouldn't expect it to be large because, like, I mean, since we're following the slasher, right? They don't need to set up the cabin that the people are in, so they
Yeah.
save money on that.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a lot of areas where I can totally see that if the budget was like really low, but I don't know, like if you're gonna make the puppet head look not very realistic, but you're gonna buy like a retro firefighter mask. You could have just not given them the mask. You
Well, I
could
was
just make that
more.
basic
I
better.
think I don't know. I wasn't even said about what the head looked like. More so that again, like the dragging of the body was like super. Like if you don't ever showcase the things that are not great. You hide, you mask the things that are
Yeah.
not great.
like
and
they
only-
did in that one scene,
Yeah.
the first kill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like
The
they
first
literally showed that for such a long time of him
They
dragging.
did.
It
I don't
didn't
think
help.
I noticed
it
it
didn't
because
help
it was
to-
nighttime, right? And so
I
like
noticed
it's
the
like,
only thing you notice.
but I just wasn't looking. That's what I'm saying. I was focused more on where he was walking.
It was just too long. It was too long, and then
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
And so, like I said, I thought it was okay. He throws the head through the window. He
Yeah.
opens the door. He puts the body in there, lays it in there. I think in his mind, Ranger. I need to put the Ranger in the Ranger station, right? Like that's a mindset for him. And so
Yeah,
then he
that's
comes
true.
across the firefighter mask, the wise Mothman mask. And so
He eats the freaking
yeah,
body.
yeah.
into the-
And I think that's where I
Yeah.
also was just like, okay, and then it even looked even more fake because it was like
No, I like
Scarecrow.
that.
and
I thought that was
loved
funny.
it.
I like that.
I
too.
loved it.
I thought it
like
was
that
funny. I was
too.
like,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was kind of
Um,
funny, but it was kind of
So
goofy.
so in the ranger station, I think the phone rings. He picks it up, right, and doesn't say anything.
Oh,
Is that
yeah.
what happens at this point?
Yeah.
That doesn't matter.
Well, because it says if you need. Oh no, that's the sign that he reads. Never mind.
Yeah. He takes the mask, and it's the firefighter mask. So
It's
we
like-
presume
it's
that
his
he's dead.
iconic mask.
Yeah, you can infer that this is the mask that they put on
Yeah.
him when he had died, or maybe not. That's the exact one, but
But like
that's
it's a mask like that.
yeah. So then there's more walking, and we end up.
He
At,
Oh, he takes. I was gonna say he takes his
Oh, you're
signature
right.
weapons, his signature axe, and his signature hooks.
yeah, the hooks.
He's
and
like-
the
he's
axe.
The like ninja katana
Yeah.
things. I forgot what they're called. What are those things? They're like miniature sights almost on chains.
Sickles?
Sickles
Sickle and
there
chains,
we go,
yeah.
sickle and chains.
They're like they're like hooks though, right?
Yeah,
Or something you
something
climb them or
like that.
something.
Yeah, I think you use them to climb. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Dang, firefighters were crazy back then.
And so then we meet he's walking by a lake, and there's two women that are standing.
Oh, it's daytime again.
Yeah,
it's
it's
daytime. So he just walks a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like to get back doesn't take that long, right? Because he walked to where they were to the ranger station in the span of the nighttime. I don't know. He just did. a little
Well,
bit.
it does because you're talking about. You have to imagine these are all miles apart, and he's just walking
Yeah,
at a
yeah.
snail's pace.
Yeah.
At least they
so
didn't show you all that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is where we meet two women that are at a pier, and then they're basically having just kind of like a pointless conversation. One
This
of them
was
is
terrible.
Those are, and I didn't realize this. Those are the two other girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are friends, and I was like, I thought they weren't. I was like, I
Oh, you thought
didn't-
they were just
I
random.
thought there were two random girls. I was like, I was like two extra kills, and then I saw that they weren't there. I was like, oh.
Ida said the same thing. She's like, I didn't know they were part of the first.
Yeah, I didn't
group."
know
I'm
that.
They
I kind
are.
of figured because they're in the middle of nowhere.
Well, even at that, they mention it
Yeah.
later on in the movie.
Yeah.
Like,
I know
oh,
later
we don't
on.
know where X or
But
this
at
person or this
the
person.
time, I was like, oh, it's two random because like
I
it
just
doesn't focus
recognized
on
it
them.
because
So.
it was like a blonde-haired girl and then the dark.
I was not-
I
They're just-
recognize it because the blonde hair is awful at acting. That's besides the point. They're having a conversation. One of them is like, "Come swim with me," and another one was like, "No, you said yoga." And then
They're lesbians.
And then she
Yeah.
leaves. The yoga girl.
Oh yeah, no. She
The yoga
says
girl leaves.
Is this how you're flirting with me? And
yeah. So the yoga girl leaves. During this entire exchange, Johnny literally walks into the water and like it's gone.
Yeah.
Right. And like he's just walking at the bottom of the lake. We don't ever see him.
Or
And
bubbles
this,
other than the
Yeah.
front part.
Yeah.
I wish they would have had bubbles like
That would've been kinda
That
cool.
would have been cool.
yeah. And then Yoga Girl walks off. Whatever. Yoga Girl's one of the kills that I keep mentioning.
Yeah, I figured.
And then the other girl, she's just kind of having her own grand time in the
In the
freaking
water.
water, and we just see her go down. That part I was kind of like,
It was disappointing.
Yeah, I wanted
Yeah.
to see something.
Or at least like a
Then she
limb come up and like the water get red or something, right?
Yeah, because then she comes
But,
up and
like,
yells, and then when she comes
Yeah.
up again, that's it.
It's like,
You
yeah.
don't see anything.
There was
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah, I was disappointed with that too. I was like,
Yeah.
something. This.
Or even if we saw him pull her under, and then like that was it. Like if
Yeah.
we saw this, the perspective.
But
of
then
the
yeah,
woman.
she does come back up and she floats.
Yeah, and then we
Oh
see
yeah, I guess disappointing.
we see Homeboy walk out of the water, and then he starts walking some more, and he basically goes to the yoga girl, right?
Like,
And
he
was on a
walks
she's-
up
cliff.
on the side of the pier.
he walks up.
Not even a cliff. It's like a
Hillside.
which
Something-
is
It's like a
She's
cliff.
on
It's a
top
cliff.
of, like,
It's a
a
cliff. It's a
ditch.
cliff.
no, because if it was a cliff, how did she get stuck in the middle
That's what I'm
of it?
saying.
She
It's
didn't
like
fall all
a
the way
ditch. It's
down.
like a drainage.
She
ditch.
could have literally, and that's one
It's
of my
like a
gripes about-
canyon. It's like the
This
side
is
of a
where
canyon.
this is where I was.
It
This is
wasn't
where I got.
steep.
This is what lost me in the movie. I was so
was
just
a cliff.
upset.
It was
It was a
It
cliff.
was a cliff.
It is a cliff. Just because it doesn't drop at a 90-degree angle, it doesn't mean it's
You
not
can
a cliff.
walk down it.
I
can
would
walk down
love to
cliffs.
see you
You
try
can
to walk
walk
down.
down.
I
Walk
think
down
the
cliffs.
initial, like from where she's at to where it starts sloping, not 90 degree, is probably higher.
It's
than
a
steep,
cliff.
Right? Like,
It's a cliff.
You can walk
She
down
would've broken
cliffs.
something.
Nah.
Okay, well, Yoga Girl is kind of like doing her thing, whatever. And then Homeboy, he like steps on a stick, right? And then
Oh,
like we
yeah.
see the stick go like
Yeah.
that. And then she turns around, she's like, screaming or whatever, runs
Yeah.
to the side, realizes it's a cliff, and she has nowhere to go. and he basically like catches up to her, right? And he freaking.
Hold on, before you do that, there was like what like.
No,
like
she stood there.
I know she stood there.
She
like,
stood
her face,
there and
with a
she-
blank face too. It was really weird.
No,
Yeah.
she
Well,
literally.
she knew what was happening, right? Like
She could have just
But
went
she was
down
like,
the thing.
she turned. No, she turned. She stands there with a blank face, and then she turns and looks, and then she has enough time to literally just turn around and look at him. Like with the, it was really bad.
Yeah.
It was a really bad execution.
She could have literally just jumped on the thing, like
Yeah, and that probably would have been better than what happened to her, honestly.
because what's at the bottom of it? Water.
No, it's
Yes.
like a whole bunch of rock, and then
Not
like,
even rock. It's just dirt.
she would have broke something.
It was dirt.
anyway.
Yeah. And so he basically like freaking shoves his hand into her torso, right? Like you see his
Yes.
hand come out the other side.
This is one of the kills.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess he said it.
And then he like pulls it out, and then she turns her like no, he puts the hook through her,
Yeah,
Yes.
through her middle.
And you see it come out the other end.
Yeah, you see it come out the other end. She turns around. He uses the hook to freaking hook her head,
and then he pulls
and
her
he
head
turns
through
her
her
around
stomach. Yeah.
and starts like
Pulling
freaking
her head through her
pulling
stomach.
her head through her stomach, and you see the
Yeah.
spine
You
crack
see the
and
neck,
everything.
everything, and then she starts
Oh,
wrapping around.
yep. And I was like, oh,
I didn't
shit.
You know,
it didn't do anything for
It
me.
didn't really do anything for me
Yeah.
either. This is the one.
I loved it.
I was
no,
kind of,
no, no, I thought it
I was
was
kind of
good.
laughing at it.
I thought it was
It was,
different.
It was
right? Like,
comical.
it was
right?
comical.
I just kind of did.
I
this.
did think it
was
was
like,
different.
Yeah.
The whole like head being
Yeah, so
slit through.
he ends up pulling her
Yeah.
head through her torso.
I was just like,
Anyways.
Yeah, so this is the kill that I texted you guys that made me laugh because after that he takes the hooks out of her leg. He's like, let me have my hooks back.
And then he pushes her.
kicks her
Yeah.
off the
This is
cliff. And I think it's funny because she does get stuck. So,
Yeah.
but then
Yeah.
something does hit the water. But then I laughed. I was like, that's kind of funny.
It wasn't.
He said, let me have my tools back, and then just
Yeah.
yeeted her
It
off
was
the cliff.
supposed to be that.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah. that's
So
right.
so this is one of the reasons why I think like that. I guess it's unrated or whatever, right? Like we wouldn't
Yeah, I think that was
wouldn't
one.
see one of those kills in like other movies. Like Saw is different.
Yeah.
Like it's more mutilation than it is. Like she's already dead by the
Yeah.
time
And
he
he
like
keeps going.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. More walking.
Yeah.
I think we probably just to the next
Yeah.
kill.
Next. Yeah. Actually. Yeah.
Just kills.
Well, yeah, because the
Yeah,
next
walking.
thing is that everybody's arguing back at the cabin.
Yes.
Like they're
Yeah.
trying to figure out like where the 3 other people are that
Oh, yeah.
that have been
Yeah.
killed.
I-
And
Because again, this is where the necklace comes into
Yeah.
play because
Yes.
he, again, I think he knows where it's at all times. Because the other thing was when he was walking through the forest, he heard them talking at the lake, and so that triggered him.
And
Yeah.
this was a question Jordan had because he was like, I'm wondering if he had some sort, like you're saying, either signal with the necklace or really good hearing because we see later that probably can't see very well.
think
Because
it's 'cause it's
every time the
loud.
conversations were so far away, you were hearing it perfectly clearly.
I think you were hearing it perfectly clear more of like the audience.
Yeah.
that's what
Again.
Jordan couldn't
Yeah.
tell. It wasn't
no,
like
I don't think it was a no. Because then you would have been like,
No, there was one
He-
time.
it's
The
not
end,
him.
at the end, I think he did have kind of better hearing because.
I don't- yeah,
At
that
the
was
end,
what
I don't
was
think.
saying.
Okay, we'll get into that when we get there.
Okay.
So basically, like they're arguing back and forth, right? Like we need to go get help. We don't
Yeah.
know where these people
there's
are.
3 of them now, right?
yeah.
And they found homie dead.
Yeah, they found. You're right. They found Aaron dead. They don't know where the 2 girls are. So the final girl and the guy who's trying to win her heart or whatever the heck, basically get on
ATV.
They get on TV and leave, but I will say before he did that, this is where it comes back to what
We
I
get
was
the face
alluding
reveal.
to. Well, face reveal
Not
too.
yet.
yeah,
So they throw the keys.
yeah, and it's in the keys.
Yeah.
where
That's how we get
Yeah.
the face reveal.
Yeah.
What happens before they leave?
Yeah, before he, so yeah, it's on the keys as a race car because the guy's like, oh, if you want to drive with him, then go get the
Yeah.
keys or whatever. And he's playing with the toy car. He takes off the mask. He's grayed out eyes, like kind of like you can tell he's
Yeah.
It was a cool effect.
Yeah.
I like the
yeah,
the
like
makeup here. Yeah.
the kind of jacked
They-
up teeth.
They did the makeup good here. I
Yeah,
think.
that is okay. And again, they waited to a good chunk in the movie to do it. But I will say the one thing that again triggered him really, and I thought that was okay. I guess the incentive to kill was the guy telling him, well, something along the lines of, "We don't have to have a bad time because your dad died," or something like
Yeah.
that. Like he basically, and so
Oh.
for him, that's what made him mad because he ends up crushing the car.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he
But
crushed.
what's cool about this scene is one of the cabin friends, right, comes up right behind him and picks up the tools that he
Oh,
had
he's-
just put
Yeah,
down.
that he just put
Because
down.
he's like, I found this axe and like these hooks.
Yeah.
Like, how do you explain this?
Yeah.
It was an axe. It was the axe.
It was that.
Yeah, he grabbed something.
Because every time he always puts the axe on
Yeah.
the log.
Yeah.
But because that triggers him, he goes into a frenzy and he basically walks to the truck, puts the stick to hold the horn down. So there's obviously some ideas going on. He goes around the house. I don't know how it takes that guy that long to go outside.
We see one of the people inside.
He's like,
I kind of appreciated that because it added some
realism, I guess.
Yeah, because he falls.
Basically he goes around the entire perimeter of the house.
Yeah.
The guy comes out the front door. The guy sees him on the side. He basically gets behind him and he pulls the stick out and he's getting mad, like, why are y'all? What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ends up basically getting the axe or the sickle or whatever, just hitting him in the leg with it, right?
Yeah.
And then just when he's about to kill him,
He
gets shot by the guy, which I guess
Who's in the house.
Yeah, when they had one of the guns from the other night.
Yeah, because for once somebody was able to put up a little bit of a fight.
Yeah.
But then he ends up
Yeah, shoots him, he goes down. And then Ida said he didn't do the double tap rule. So, he's like, okay, well, come on, I'll help you up. Let's get you, tries to put, the worst of the worst tourniquets. Because, there's nothing actually holding it. He just tightens it to where it squeezes, but nothing to actually stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
And so they run off, right, wherever they're going. I don't know where the heck they're going.
They run to the woods.
They run to the woods instead of taking the car for whatever reason.
Well, because they couldn't find the keys.
Oh, couldn't find the keys.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically he gets up. They don't see that he gets up. He just basically grabs
all
the
fast
axe.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah.
You hear the
Quack. And so one of them got hit, and of course it's the other guy, the guy with the gun.
I liked how they were doing this shot though, because it was a top view and they were panning over the trail.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah, and then we see homeboy Johnny start
Trying to
walking
look
towards
away,
the people, and then and then the guy who had the sickle wound, he's crawling away. No, and then our killer picks up a rock
And
and he just
splats his head.
Just the immaculate ending.
Yeah.
Which I was offended that Jordan said that this was up there with immaculate. I'm like, no.
Jordan said he was considering putting this above Late Night with the Devil. I said, absolutely not, sir.
That's
Absolutely.
terrible.
That's when I told him, you're never invited to the podcast.
Okay. So then that occurs. He finishes killing them, and then immediately those people come back.
Yes.
And the last two, the remaining two.
And that's when we see the
he sees the lockets on her neck, and so they're like, "Oh my God, I found the blah blah blah!" And then he goes almost after them, and then he tries to throw the axe, but I guess the guy sees it and pushes her out of the way.
Yeah.
So the axe misses, and it's like,
And then they take off again, right?
Take off on the ATV.
They take off to the ranger station.
Yeah, on the ATV, which again, just like the last movie we reviewed. Why not just keep on going and never come back? Why go to the ranger station? So I just leave.
He can walk forever.
Yeah.
And she has the lockets.
Yeah, and so how long did it take him to get to the ranger station?
It was nighttime again.
Nighttime again, and they sat with him for that long to discuss it. That just seems.
So basically, they get to the ranger station. The ranger's this is the same ranger from the beginning of the movie, and he's like, "Wow, where did you get this necklace? Do you know what you did?" And they're like,
Yeah,
basically,
Lord, he's like, second part of Lord Dumb.
Yeah, and he's like, that was real. And she's like, what? Are you kidding me? And he's like, yeah. And then they turn around and there's homeboy.
Yeah, he kind of says, you've awakened him.
Yeah.
Just the only thing that keeps him
is that
at peace.
locket.
Yeah. And so what happens is that the ranger shoots him, right, and he keeps the gun on him, right, the whole double tap rule, just like you're saying.
Yeah.
And he tells the other guy, the other
Chain
teenager, chain him up. The chains are in the shed over there. Just chain him up so we can deal with it. And then he's like, no, I don't want to leave. Blah 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 blah. And then so the ranger. And so the ranger's like, fine, stop being a little you hold the gun and I'll go get the chains. And of course, in the exchange of the firearm, that's when our killer awakes, grabs the gun, and the two teenagers, right, get scared off, and the ranger's like, leave, I can handle this, whatever. His kill is the second one.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly.
Dang,
I liked it.
When you were like, one of them is just effed up, I thought you were gonna say
it's this one. So basically, what happens in the altercation?
The last one with the
axe.
That was
in front
messed
of the
up.
girlfriend.
Nah.
That's why I thought that would have been like.
So basically, what happens is that the ranger and our Johnny boy get into a fight, right?
He
And
gets
in the
the ranger
fight,
on the ground.
he gets the ranger on the ground
out his
and
spine.
cracks his spine.
No, he pulls it. He like pulls
He
like
paralyzes
he
it.
just like
Yeah.
he like dislocates it or
Yes,
something. Yeah.
yeah, and so the
Paralyzed,
ranger's
yeah.
like completely paralyzed.
Yeah.
The only thing he can move is his eyes
Yeah.
at this point. And Johnny goes into the shed, and we hear a motor start to get turned on. And then we go. Johnny picks up our ranger boy.
Okay, this is what I was gonna get to. So in the first when he's dragging that first body, he drags it like nothing. If you look at the way he's dragging this body, he's really struggling. He's literally pulling
I think
it.
it
And
was
breaks,
actually the dude.
I know, but I'm saying it breaks like the continuity of the character.
Breaks the immersion.
You know,
Yeah.
But it's
so-
still, but it shouldn't be heavy anyways because you look at the legs and the legs are little.
Well, I'm just saying, regardless, like if you're gonna, he should, you know,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
gonna
I
drag
get
one
it, I
body a
get it.
certain way, and the dead body would weigh more than someone that's alive too, you know. Well, I guess
Well,
they're
both
both
paralyzed.
yeah, because it's
Both
dead
weight.
weight. Yeah, they're both, but still, like you know.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's basically
anyways,
it's
yeah.
a firewood cut. It's a firewood chopper, right? You put the log in the thing, and then a blade comes and cuts the wood in half, and you have firewood. Well, Johnny boy goes ahead and starts with our paralyzed trooper's arm.
No, first he puts a log to show him what he's gonna do to him.
Yeah.
And then he puts the
And then he
arm.
puts the arm, and then the arm gets cut off. Homeboy can only move his eyes. So I hope he can't feel it.
He
No,
probably
he definitely.
can't.
I'm pretty sure he could.
No, if you got paralyzed,
If
you can't
he's
feel anything. until the
paralyzed?
next
You don't think
down.
so?
No.
you can't feel
That's
it.
how that
Yeah,
works.
if you can, you lose all feeling.
So
Yeah?
he just sees
Yeah.
it coming, and obviously his heart's probably racing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not that bad, I guess.
And
No,
then
no, he can't
yes,
feel
it
it.
is. And then after his arm, he puts his head,
Yeah.
and then it cuts his head off.
Okay, you can feel that,
half.
though.
Yeah, but
So the reason why I think this one is so messed up is because it made me realize why we never see people of this demographic in horror movies. Right? They are completely helpless.
He couldn't
No.
do
He would,
anything.
yeah, he couldn't do anything about it, and that's
That's pretty scary.
Yeah, that like made me realize that was like that is that's insane that they thought
Yeah.
about doing that, and like I don't know that maybe it made like the entire scene made me feel so ugly inside.
I like
When
the
you
way.
say that, that makes sense. That's not something I thought about.
I didn't think about that either, but I really did like the way it was filmed. Like I like, and it goes back. I know we keep saying it, like the cinematography and everything like that. And I know that they used the certain cuts to make it to where they would replace the things. But I like the lighting they used, and I just liked the way it was filmed. And it just really kind of made you like feel like, ooh,
it's stupid.
no, I wasn't stupid. I liked it. I thought it was. I liked the way it was.
I thought it was the fakest looking one of all of them, and I was just
Not
like,
really. I thought it was.
It
probably one
literally
of the
was
better
like
ones.
it was literally like a chafad like scarecrow arm that.
It
came off.
wasn't.
It was like,
Yes, so yes, this one I did see exactly what you're talking about.
I didn't see it.
But the feeling that I got for this scene was the original Strangers for me. Like
Really?
it made me feel so like ugly, and I was like, "What the? This
Yeah.
is not like this is not okay." To like,
I liked it. I think that was probably one of the better scenes in the movie.
yeah,
I'm being completely honest.
and I
liked it.
agree with you. I
was-
just did not feel
yeah.
comfortable watching it.
But I
That
think,
was-
but I think if it made you feel that way, then they accomplished what they're trying to do.
Exactly.
Right? So that's what makes it a good scene. You
Which
know?
is why I like
feel
the movie.
nothing.
Which is why I like
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Like it was this one and the lake, not the
Felt
lake.
nothing.
That's
I just
fine.
thought it was-
Well, the lake.
Not the being dragged under, but the. And so I think that this part was interesting too, because like when we start following the killer, this is the first time he's walking towards the camera. The camera basically flips, and Johnny Boy's walking towards the camera, and in the background, this is when we see the teens.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you hear the super.
Which is so
hearing.
dumb. Like, I get it, but like, why did you go back to try and trap someone that like?
Well, I don't think they could get anywhere is the problem, and they didn't go back for the ATV like at any point when he was in the shed. Like, oh, let's just go get the ATV. That like
They didn't. I don't know.
I would okay. Here's my again. I never mind. That's just logical thinking. But I did. This is where the supersonic hearing came in because you heard them clear as day.
Yeah, whispering.
And I know for a fact he heard them too.
I think you heard
Because-
the whispering, but you
Yeah.
didn't hear what they were
No,
saying.
they weren't even whispering. They were saying it at like max
Yeah.
volume.
Well, I think the reason why they increased the volume is so that we, the audience,
So know
can
what
hear
they-
what they're
yeah.
saying. Not that that's what he
Yeah.
was
But
saying.
I
hearing.
figured he had heard it because they were emphasizing like, yeah, we're gonna go to the fire tower and trap him. So
Yeah.
like,
Well, he
I
might
think
have like Justin saying like he might have heard like the whispers like
Yeah.
there's a like when somebody's whispering across at some distance, you can hear the noise, but you can't make out what they're saying.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not a supersonic. I really don't think it's a supersonic. It's literally a choice for. It's just an audio choice.
See, but you know how they showed his grayed out eyes, and then this is getting a little bit ahead of myself, but how in the ending scene she's talking about bears and animals. They made him.
I think you're reading too far.
No, but I feel like that's what it is. Like,
I agree with her.
I think he picks up that, right? Because he's walking in pitch black and he knows where he's going. Like, I do think he can just.
He can see, I'm sure.
I think his hearing sense is increased.
I'm sure he can see. He has to be able to see stuff, right?
Well, sorry, I was thinking something else. He
can
agree
see.
with Justin.
Yeah.
I don't know about the scene. I don't know about the vision. I don't know how zombie vision works. Like maybe it's like infrared or something. I don't know.
So for the amount of stuff that he does,
he has to be able to see,
something.
degree.
I think he sees by smell.
Oh,
like a bat, right?
But essentially what ends up happening is they come. Yeah, they basically lay out this whole plan of we're gonna trap him and whatever. We'll lay the trap. Okay, I'm gonna distract him.
That was the best.
No, it was stupid. It was stupid. Here's why: because when they walk, they're on where he's at right there. They're like behind him in this tree, and then when he distracts him, he comes from right here, and he decides, you know what? The best way to distract him is to be 1 foot away from him.
That was the best. That was the best scene.
That was so dumb.
I was like, oh!
What did you say?
Off that scene, like ninja reflexes.
He's like about to tell him off.
He's like, hey, you.
Hey, you ugly son of a. Like
just turns around. No, he just turns around and smacks him because again he's like this far from the killer. And he just turns and I'm like you.
I was like, he doesn't even finish what he said. Yeah, I thought it was his head. He doesn't even finish like what he was saying, right?
Yeah. And then he just goes to town.
That was the best scene.
And it's a comical scene, right? Like it's supposed to be. He just keeps he doesn't let up, and he just keeps like axing the dude until
for like
he can't.
3 hours.
Forever,
yeah.
Because then she takes out the locket, puts it on the gasoline,
and
he's still going. You can just still hear it.
Well, and this is the thing, and this is where things got a little weird for me, and I was trying to figure out kind of what was going on. Like, was she getting lost and coming back around, or was she like traumatized? Or
I thought she kept coming back around.
Like she got lost and she kept coming, or like
she's in a forest. I don't think she knows where she's going.
You're right. Okay. So basically, what they're talking about is the final girl. Like they have this grand plan where they were going to burn him in the fire tower. So she has a tank of gasoline, and so she puts that on the ground. She realizes
we can't kill him.
We can't kill him. There's nothing we can do to stop this guy. Like he's obvious. Like I don't remember how it clicked for her, but it's the locket from the
she puts the locket on the gas can.
Yeah, from what the from the park ranger was telling her is the locket was the key. So she puts it on the gas can and walks away or runs away. While she's running, she constantly hears the sound of the chopping of the.
I kind of like that too. It feels kind of like eerie, you
know. So I feel like it's up to interpretation whether she was running around in circles or if she was traumatized. I personally lean more towards her being traumatized. And she just hears it and she can't get away until she doesn't stop hearing it right until she gets to the road
in the morning.
Yeah, see, at first I thought she was going in circles, but then I was like, "There's no way that would have been happening," and he didn't see her or whatever. Yeah. So then I was like, "No, she has to have been."
She gets caught on something.
That was the worst one too. Is they finally after 50 cuts of her running,
she's like,
that was a little.
Yeah, then she literally it's her on the ground doing the Peter Griffin knee thing, and she's got impaled in her leg by this giant branch, and I'm like, how?
And then she just pulls it out and then gets back up right and
Apocalypto style.
That's my biggest gripe with any horror movies. They just pull out their wounds and they act like they're not even there anymore.
Yeah,
I want to see someone get hurt and act like they're hurt for the rest of the movie. You know?
I mean,
you know what happened with the guy who got paralyzed?
Yeah,
okay. That one is so bad, right? They pull out his spine, he's just like, starts taking off.
Well, yeah, and then she makes it to the road, and she ends up flagging down. Or it looks like at first you're thinking every time, okay, he might come back out of the woods or something, but he never.
It's supposed to. It's supposed to look like that.
Yeah, and so and then
the ending.
She flags down the truck, and then I guess you can go into it, but I guess just make it really short and sweet. Is basically this lady picks her up and then just literally goes on this 30-minute monologue that I'm like, okay, cool.
So the bear was symbolic for him, right?
Yeah.
And so what was it? Her husband or her
Her
dad?
brother.
Her brother. Her brother was attacked by him too.
The brother was attacked by a bear.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
so basically what they're saying is that this lady gets into this story about the bear and her brother, where her brother was hunting or something like that, and he got attacked by a bear. This bear was like notorious for just going on rampages for no reason or something like that. Like it one day it just
Something's
clicked.
not right in nature sometimes with certain animals, and then I
Yes.
think she even, I don't know, that was not the title of the
something
movie. It's a
syndrome.
violent nature.
No, she did. I was
No,
waiting.
she
I was
says-
waiting for. I was like, she's gonna say it. She's like,
says it,
sometimes it's just a violent.
I forgot what
nature.
she
Like-
said, but she says something syndrome, right?
Oh.
And it's like where they just
Yeah.
kill
Like they just
for no
snap.
reason,
Yeah.
and then like that's
And then
it.
for no reason
They
they
just leave
decide.
behind and move
yeah.
on.
And she does talk about the whole reason that it clicked that there was something wrong was because they found the animals that were like eaten but not eaten, like they would
They
just
were
kill
killed
them.
but not eaten.
Yeah.
Which
It's
again,
Yeah, so I think it is symbolic for him,
Yes,
right? Because he's just
it is,
feeding
yeah.
bodies,
And
which is
an analogy
why
for
my
him.
interpretation was that his hearing is better because he's animalistic. Like he's not a real person.
I'm
He's
just trying to
just an
figure out
entity.
how that horse or deer or whatever was there, because the idea is that he was in the ground for 10 years. That thing that was there was not there for 10 years. So
What?
we
In
assuming
the
the
very
bear.
beginning of the
Yeah.
I think it was just the
Oh.
guy's traps.
Yeah,
So
but
just
the
trapped
thing was
up.
skinned and all that. Like
It wasn't
think it
him
was
though.
just
It wasn't
old, like,
him. It was just like
decomposed.
maybe it was just
Yeah.
like the old guy being sadistic or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't.
They
think
did
too
have
much
a
about
camera
it. Yeah.
focused
Maybe
on
it was just
it.
like,
they
oh,
did stare at it for like a good 10 minutes, like as if that was a big thing.
No, I don't think
I
so.
don't think so at all.
I think it did. I just didn't notice it.
But so that monologue was something. As I was watching it, I was listening to it. I kind of got like, I was like, oh, this is kind of dragging on. But that's one of the things when I looked back on it later, I was like, I appreciated
And they
it.
did the music again, where it just stayed on forever, and I'm just
I
like,
didn't pay attention to the music.
I
at
was
that
getting
time.
freaked out when she pulled over to
Yes.
like.
Okay, so basically what happens is the homegirl starts, like, the wound on her leg is starting to bleed
Yeah.
even more, and so our driver's like, we need to pull over and stop this bleeding, and she's like, no, because they're in the hospital, blah, 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 blah.
she's like staring into the forest
Yeah.
right
Yeah,
when she
so they-
opens the door. Because for some reason, our girlfriend that survived, she can like hear really well because she's hearing like all the cracking and everything in the forest. Like she keeps looking in, but I think it's her just being
Yeah,
paranoid.
it
thinking
is.
it's
It
gonna
really
come
is.
out.
Yeah, it's I think it's supposed to be like her transition, right? Like
Yeah.
that's her realizing like that she's like
Because long story short, they drive away. She makes it out. He doesn't ever come back.
yeah, we go back to the gas can and the necklace is gone,
And then
that's where the movie
ends.
ends.
Yeah.
But this whole scene with her like staring out into the forest,
I liked
and
it.
hearing all of it.
I liked it a lot.
I like it too because that's her being like, I'm not the same person.
Yeah.
'cause
like-
she's just survived this like traumatic
Right.
thing.
So and I think that this is kind of important too because like in other slashers and stuff like that, like once they're saved, that's it. Like
Yeah.
the movie ends and then okay, cool, whatever. But we never see like
The traumatic, the like trauma from it and stuff
Right.
like that. Yeah.
and so that's what I
Until the
thought.
strangers chapter
Yeah.
2.
But that's what I thought that the scene was. It was us showing like that.
And that's something I appreciated
that
too.
it's clicked for her.
These are the kind of things in the movie that made me boost the rating after like I said I rated it low and then I thought about it. I'm like it's actually kind of like good. They had some good ideas that they implemented really well.
Homeboy just wanted his necklace back.
Yeah.
So don't pick up necklaces you find in the middle of the woods.
Or
Don't be in the middle of the woods.
Don't be, yeah. I was like,
Just don't be in the
who's
middle of the
camping
woods.
anymore?
Closing thoughts, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like it. I think y'all are giving a lot of credit to things. It gave me Midsummer vibes. Again, it's verbatim. Like, okay, you have good cinematography. I'll give you that. I thought there's a lot of great camera moments, and then they implemented ideas, but there's so much dragging and things that were just that I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm not
Liberal
invested.
drag.
I'm like, just I don't care. I will say the things that were missing again, big plot, like just storyline things. There's no character development other than kind of the end, sort of, but you have to interpret it, right? There's no character, like, you don't care for the characters because
Do you ever care for the characters in any slasher movie though?
I'd like the final person. I don't
I
care
never
for the
really
final
care- I
person.
don't
Care
care
for
for
this
the
one
final
because
person.
we had how much screen time of them, like 10 minutes.
I mean, you kind of connect
Like,
to the characters.
you know, there's no
Strangers.
character.
It's not really slasher.
There's no character connection because of the way that the movie was shot. So again, I get these are I'm just laying out the things that these are what you're losing, and there's no nothing they supplemented to make up for it. So you lost character development, you lost character interest, you lost. I mean, just overall, like the pacing was just really weird because again, there's walking half the time.
That's okay. I get that. That's a thing, like pacing. It was a little bit weird, but one thing I did notice about this movie that I kind of reflected on again that I appreciated that a lot of people really won't, and it's probably why a lot of the people walked out, is there was a lot of long shots in this movie. Like, and that's something you don't see anymore in movies. And that's that's a thing. It's like I don't know what to call it. I don't know. There's it's like a phenomenon where movies are progressively getting their cuts are getting a lot shorter, and you notice that in a lot of movies. Like there's like a statistic where like every single shot is only like a certain amount of seconds long, and it cuts to another scene.
Well,
that's to keep the audience engaged because like the average consumer now, their attention span is like so small that if a scene drags on for too long, they check out.
Even if it's the same scene from a different angle, it's still cutting.
Exactly, it's always constantly cutting. And this, and like again, like I said, and I mean, there were times where I was like, man, this scene's kind of dragging on, and that's when I kind of realized I was like, oh man, I'm a victim of this.
Well, but they did so many of them too. So again, you pick something that was good, and then they.
But that's how it's supposed to be.
It was supposed to be like a vlog style, right? Like somebody's vlogging this freaking slasher. Like I mean, that's what it was supposed to feel like. You were just following him, like
ambient slasher. So, and this is another thing too. And this is probably why I kind of like the movie more than other people too. Is it's kind of and I'm gonna get a lot of probably hate, especially from you for this. Is it kind of it's in the same field as the movie Skinamarink, and I love that movie, and it's just like I don't know if you've ever seen it either. You
watched the
I was gonna say like the first,
minutes
and you didn't like it. Yeah, I love Skinamarink, and it's because of its ambiance, and it's just like Skidmore.
That's what it was. I mean, that's literally.
I like that movie, and I think it kind of falls in the same realm as that movie. It's not as good to me as Skinamarink, and a lot of it could be chalked up because of like some of the kills are really just like, and the effects too. They were really like goofy, cheesy and goofy at times. But when it did take itself, like in those moments, and it had that kind of like oppressive atmosphere. Those are the moments I enjoyed in the movie. I don't know if it's something that I would watch again, but I mean, What
awards did it win? I think I was more disappointed in that. This movie was very hyped up, like it won all these awards, and then I should have known that was the problem. If you win all these like foreign movie awards, that's not going to be good.
It was good. It's different, you know.
Well, yeah, you have to remember like the awards it would have won would have been at film festivals where more artsy people go to.
It's more.
It's an art piece.
Like,
you know.
I know Rotten Tomatoes isn't like scientific or whatever, but the critic reviews for this movie are a lot higher than an audience score.
Yeah.
So like on paper, it probably does a lot of things correct, right? That you wouldn't necessarily be a fan.
I'll wrap it up with just this. In my field of work, which is music, which there's a lot of theatrical things on certain things that we do. One judge that I was very receptive of was somebody's like, if you want the audience to see something and like understand something, just do that. Like, I feel like you're saying, well, oh, the story, it does this and that. I'm like, it could be more direct and it can still get its point across, and you can still be artsy with it. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like they relied on too many other things to make it something, and it's like, I think they could have just been more practical and gotten gotten a better result. Like, you know what I mean? If general audience members are walking out, I don't think that's necessarily a good thing, and it's not because they don't understand it, but they just.
I don't think it's a movie for the general audience, though. Like, it's not.
I would agree with that.
It's not.
But I would consider myself a big fan of horror. I just didn't. I don't know. Like, I definitely wouldn't watch it again, and I don't think I could. I don't think I could even if this genre comes out and like this movie becomes like a thing because other movies did it better. I don't think I could go back and say like, but this is the one that started. I'd be like, yeah, I remember watching that. It was kind of like, I don't know.
Well, you also don't like Blair Witch, right?
I didn't like it. I also saw that in theater, and I was disappointed.
It's like the same thing, right? That was an art piece of itself too, you know.
Yeah, but looking back, Paranormal Activity had some effect, but you can't rewatch those. Like, they're not very.
Paranormal Activity?
You can't rewatch
Yes,
those.
you
The movies
can
are still
rewatch
Those are
those.
mid. I
Those
don't
are
like Premature.
bad.
There,
Those
but
are bad.
it's
Those
a
are
good one.
bad.
We don't know what to watch. We want to watch
That's
scary
an
movie.
that's
Okay,
an
put on
that's an
Paranormal Activity.
ambient or ambient
Right.
horror.
Thank
That's
you.
I don't
horror.
think so.
Because
Paranormal Activity.
Because you can sit in the theater and watch that, and the tension will actually build. I can remember that.
Well,
from,
yeah, because it's so long, right?
Yeah.
And you're like,
I wouldn't
I know
say-
something's gonna
I
pop.
wouldn't
something's
say
gonna pop.
ambient's the right word for it.
Yeah, like the bass gets louder right when something's about to
I wouldn't
happen.
say ambient's a thing, but I mean it's. I haven't seen it in a long time. I probably haven't seen it. Since
Actually,
I'm done with
I
my
like them
negativity.
for what they are.
Y'all can go ahead.
But
I'm just gonna chime in when I disagree.
I'll give my closing thoughts real quick, if
Yeah,
that's okay.
go for it.
So I thought this movie, again, it did what it wanted to do. I don't think it has rewatch value for me at all, particularly this movie. I do think if this style was shot again, I would watch it because, of course, it's gonna do everything this one didn't, right? Like it's the point of that would be to improve it. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was okay. One of my biggest complaints, though, which I know was an artistic move, I didn't like that it was really like kind of like a square ratio.
What is it called?
Yeah, because that
liked
to
it.
me felt retro, but then I didn't feel like the casting or the costumes was retro. So like if you're gonna get
But there was some
I
shot.
agree.
There was some shots that were retro, and then some shots that weren't.
So that's
Like
what I'm
some were
saying.
very
So,
clear
like
HD.
the night vision ones were very retro. I feel like sometimes it almost felt like tapey. So that's why I'm like, if you're gonna give me that style, match it with the costumes, match it with everything else.
I agree. That's.
But I mean,
Or
at the
do
same
the
time,
whole movie.
again, like it really could have just been budget. Like maybe they did have a
Yeah.
lower quality camera, and so they just ran with.
I don't think it was a lower quality.
You think it was an
I think
artistic
it was definitely. An
Yeah.
artistic
So
choice.
I don't know. Other than that, like I thought it was fine. I wouldn't care to watch it again. Like it is what it is. Like the kills were good. I do think a lot of it was negative space, like with all the walking. But what else would they have done, right? Like that's what
Yeah,
the movie
it's,
was.
it's one of the things you get when you follow the antagonist
Yeah.
Yeah.
instead.
Yeah.
Like if they did this with Michael Myers, he's gonna be hiding in a closet for half the movie.
Yeah.
So like I can't really complain about that.
Yeah.
That is nice.
He's shining and polishing it.
Justin, closing thoughts?
I kind of feel like I said everything that I needed to kind of
Okay.
already, but yeah. Again, as much as I did kind of like again reflect on it and I enjoyed the movie, I don't know if I would rewatch it again. Again, and I think if people, I don't think it's gonna become a thing, but if people do, I don't think they're gonna kind of lean into this real experimental style of film. If they're gonna do it from a killer's perspective, they're probably just gonna go back to classic roots and lean into the whole fast-paced thing and everything like that. They'll just put more emphasis on the killer.
Yeah.
But
You lose again. You took away story elements. You didn't replace it. Like
Like I think if they did this again, it would be less like you're seeing the
yeah,
person hide in the closet, but you're
Yeah.
seeing
because
the slasher.
just kind of
the
finding
traumatic
it.
thing that
Yeah.
you were talking about, that was the whole thing. Is like, and then you ended the movie by not showing their perspective for the rest of the last like 20-30 minute monologue. That like it was just
I thought
like
it was fine. I thought it was
I mean,
fine.
what were we gonna see? Him grab the necklace and
Yeah.
like disintegrate?
I mean, if you were gonna keep up with the vision of the movie, then yes, I was told that it was gonna be 100% from his perspective, and it was not. So, I think they veered off the
Boy,
path.
spirits just watching the whole time.
I wish. I think the only thing I wish that would have made the movie really good for me is if, and like I said, like the kills were really funny, but if they made it not so absurd at times, if they kept it all pretty
Are you
grounded.
saying what I said? Like, there's a line and you have to follow it, and when you don't,
Yeah.
the movie's not good.
Exactly.
Okay.
They like
I'm telling you, there's a
Yeah.
line. You cannot cross that line.
if they
If
kept
you're gonna be
everything-
absurd, you gotta be absurd.
Yeah, that's true. And they could have went a lot more natural with the killing, I guess, and made it
Or if
more
they were gonna
leaned into like
Just
the horror.
get a better effects artist. Like, I think that would have solved. half
I
the
don't think
problem.
that would have. I still think
I
I would
think
have
if
been.
you're telling me if Damien Leone was not the visual effects artist, that it would have been better.
It would have been better, but I'm not. I'm thinking that. I think the whole reason, like for me, that the film doesn't score as high as it does is because they make it like this artistic thing, and then they put in kills like that, and it's like it makes it funny, you know.
yeah.
And it's like it's not fun. It's not like art. I'm not art. Like not that art's not
Art
supposed
is
to be.
funny.
I know. Shut up. But I feel
I'm about to say
like
he's like TikTok famous right now.
I
He's
feel
like-
like the aesthetic that they're trying to go for is a more serious tone, and then when you throw stuff in there like that, it makes it. It's not the effects itself that's bad. It's the kill itself. It's like I would expect to see something like that in Terrifier, not like in something like this where, you know, they're trying to evoke this feeling of a haunting, I guess.
So, final thoughts for me. I like the movie. I understand that it's more artistic than some people might like. A lot of the story elements we do lose when we follow the antagonist as opposed to the protagonist. I feel like this movie had to be made so that way people could see like both sides of the coin, right? So that.
But I agree that the movie did have to be made at some point, but maybe they didn't have to make it in the style that they did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think you need to know what your flaws are going to be or what you're losing, and you have to find something to replace it. If you don't,
to go off what you're saying, somebody had to do it this way to know that it should not have been done this way.
Maybe, I guess.
or not
like I said,
necessarily done this way. You just need to fill in the things that are not there.
But what do you replace it with then?
Replace it. You have to replace it with something that's going to give you something similar to that effect. Like
What
you
would
can't,
what would
you
that
can't
be?
like every movie and story that's going to be decent has character development. There has to be the killer develop at all.
How's a killer supposed to develop? He looks in the reflection. He's like, "What is
Maybe
that fucking Disney
I
song?"
shouldn't be doing this.
Who's that man?
No, I think there was a few moments and trickles of it. Like I said, whenever he triggered about the dad thing, you could tell he escalated. And then my idea at the end, when he did not go after her, or what we consider not maybe going after her, was him taking that as like she gave him grace. Like she was the only one that did not try to. I mean, granted, he attacked everybody else non-provoked too, but like he, I think saw that was their plan, but she said, "Nah, I'm good. Like I'm gonna leave you alone. Now here's your locket. I'm not gonna burn you. I'm not gonna mess with you." And he just left it alone. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was the first time he saw like kindness since like his mom, like a motherly figure almost. Like I don't know.
I think that's reading too far into it. I think literally he's just an animal. He saw the locket, he got what he wanted, and he left. It's not that he didn't think, oh, they're being kind to me. He's like, the locket's there, I got what I wanted. I don't care anymore. I don't care what happens to her. I'm gonna get it.
Especially like when the toy was on the key. He saw the toy, he was scared to play with it. He didn't care about what else was going on.
I don't think it was a compassion thing at all.
Well, I just thought you gotta find, if you're gonna take something out, you still gotta make those things happen to make it work.
Yeah,
A good story does not work without good character development, like a climax. Like you also lost on the climax because there was nothing to get up to that point. They literally just things happened. It was like, here's something, and then the big moment right there at the big the station, that should have been the climax. It wasn't. It was just like, oh, and now he's here at the ranger station again. Like there's no climax. You lost actual story elements are not there to make it interesting. So,
and the reason why you lose those is because we follow the antagonist.
Yeah, which is what the movie is.
right.
And it's not really following the antagonist. That's the thing. It's following like something that's just like a thing, because there's plenty of movies where you follow an antagonist and like it's they're lively and everything.
Because those aren't the protagonists. The purpose of the protagonist is to move the story forward. The purpose of the antagonist is to put obstacles in front of the protagonist to stop.
It doesn't always mean bad.
Right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. But I think. But even from that point, though, you still never you still have to make up for that. Like again, I get you. Yes, exactly what you're saying. But you can still find ways to include those things because you're still going to get things from a protagonist perspective when the antagonist is doing things. Like you still have monologues and things that are done from the antagonist point of view that the protagonists have no clue what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So I think
you would have preferred this if it was from like Ghostface, right? Because he's actually someone versus being just an animalistic entity that's just in the ground.
Maybe.
Like I think that would have given you the character development where they actually have a real life, or like American Psycho, right? Like he's an actual person.
Yeah, I'm about to say, isn't that a movie where we follow the antagonist?
He's the protagonist.
Is he really?
And that's literally what we're talking about. I just learned right now.
He's not a good person.
Yeah, I was like,
that doesn't make
Oh,
him
so
antagonist is not synonymous with evil.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Protagonist is just the main character, I guess, right?
The one who moves the story forward.
Yeah. Look at that. Learning.
So I think that pretty much wraps up our discussion for In a Violent Nature. If you made it this far, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Do all the algorithm stuff. That'll really help us. You can find us also on TikTok, same handle, 4 Dead Losers. Next time we're going to go ahead and watch The Terrifier.
Ooh. Oh, is that it? That was the end?
Yeah, that was it.